She smiled, hugged, and handed out candy. But no one knew her true mission was to collect blood and quietly transfer information. And soon the truth would be revealed. She smiled, waved, and hugged the children. A young woman in a crisp white coat, her golden ponytail cascading down her back. Glasses perched at the tip of her nose, her voice soft and persuasive. Her name was Dr. Eleanor Wells, and she came from England. "I'm here for the women of Burkina Faso," she told the cameras. "Healthcare is a human right. We're here to build free clinics and change lives." And the people believed her, because they wanted to believe. In the northern villages, most clinics had either shut down years ago or never existed, so the container clinics that Dr. Wells brought looked like hope itself. Gleaming white walls, solar-powered machines, colorful bottles of vitamins on sterile tables. Outside, long lines of women waited with babies in their arms, and curious children stared wide-eyed at this foreign miracle. She was never alone. By her side was always a man, tall, dressed in a black suit, polite, refined, yet so distant no one dared ask his name. He called himself a relief coordinator, but his real job was to carefully package and store the blood samples Eleanor collected daily in portable, refrigerated cases. To the villagers, it was unfamiliar. Why take blood? Where does it go? What is it used for? No one asked. And for those who did, the answer was always ready. This is standard medical protocol. The tests must be analyzed in advanced labs overseas. But what they didn't know was those labs weren't in Burkina Faso. And what hid behind the mask of help was far more than kindness. Because sometimes the deadliest poison is offered with a smile. From the outside, the clinic still looked the same, clean, white, full of hope. But inside, something was shifting. The first warning came from the village elder Inzugu. Holding 2 test tubes in his wrinkled hands, he stood in the center of the square and asked loudly, "Why is our blood being sent to England? Don't we have doctors and labs here too?" No one answered, because Eleanor Wells always had a reply ready. "Sir," she said sweetly, "we need global analysis. Our advanced diagnostic equipment is overseas. Our only goal is to help." But with every calm answer, she was building something, a wall of suspicion. Women began noticing the questions were changing. "Has anyone in your family had cancer? Do you know your ancestry 3 generations back? Were your parents related by blood?" These weren't simple checkups anymore. Every appointment felt less like medicine and more like a genetic interrogation. One day, a young nurse named Aicha spotted something unusual. Dr. Wells had left her laptop open in the clinic. On the screen, a glowing file name, BF Genetic Pool Report version 2.1. Aicha didn't dare open it, but the fear it sparked stayed with her. That night she couldn't sleep. Meanwhile, in the capital, the National Cybersecurity Unit had quietly begun monitoring Eleanor's organization, and something stood out immediately. Every night at exactly 3 a.m., Dr. Wells' computer connected to the internet and transferred a large batch of encrypted data like clockwork. That same night, her screen flashed a final line, "All samples complete. Uploading master file, Africa BF Genome App Final." But the server wasn't in England. The IP traced back to California, United States, to a defense-linked biotechnology giant named Genica Health with contracts directly tied to the Pentagon. Now the trail was clear, and the footprints weren't made of dust. They were coded in blood, files, and coordinates. Dr. Eleanor Wells was still smiling. She handed out candy to children, spoke to women about the light of science, and wrapped every word she spoke in hope and kindness. But behind the scenes, the national security units of Burkina Faso were taking notes on every word, every visit, every gesture, because what once looked like charity now resembled something far more calculated. It looked like an operation. President Traoré remained silent. He watched, observed, because under his leadership, no betrayal was crushed in panic. First, all masks had to fall. Eleanor's next stop was a set of 3 rural villages in the east. Official reason, malaria screenings. But in truth, these villages sat just a few kilometers away from sensitive military training grounds. And then came the night. Under the pale moonlight, Eleanor stepped behind her clinic. In her hand, a GPS device. She dug into the soil, placed a small plastic transmitter, then carefully covered it with stones. But she wasn't alone. From a nearby ridge, a surveillance team watched silently through night vision cameras. And the device? It matched the exact model used in NATO-backed mapping systems. By morning, Eleanor returned to her role as if nothing had happened. She taught a class to local women. Smart motherhood, she called it, but the truth was no longer hidden. It had already been documented, filed, and flagged. Later that week, she appeared in the capital, smiling before the press. Wearing her signature white coat, she said, "When science and the power of women unite, Africa's future changes forever." But the science she spoke of had just become part of a trap. And Eleanor, dancing in the center of the trap, had no idea she was already surrounded. Because sometimes the loudest silence isn't what comes before the storm. It is the storm. April 1st, World Health Day. In the capital city of Ouagadougou, red carpets were rolled out for the National Health Conference. Journalists, diplomats, and international guests flooded the hall. A massive banner hung above the stage. "Women's health is Africa's future." And among the invited guests, one name kept echoing through the crowd. Our guest of honor, Dr. Eleanor Wells. She looked immaculate, wearing a crease-white dress, a vibrant sash with African patterns across her waist, and holding a stack of speech notes. Cameras followed her every move. She smiled, waved, radiated calm confidence. Throughout the event, people spoke of how she brought hope to the country. When her name was announced, the hall erupted in applause. She stepped onto the stage and began, "Women are the backbone of this nation," she said, "and by giving them free access to healthcare, we are investing in a better tomorrow." And then, the lights dimmed, just for a moment. On the giant screen behind her, a file suddenly appeared. BF, Genetic Pool Report, V2.1. A wave of murmurs rippled through the room. The host gently took the microphone and calmly addressed her. "Dr. Wells, this file was retrieved from your device. The DNA analyses inside were collected from the women of this country. And the report, why was it sent to an American military biotech firm?" The smile froze on Eleanor's face. Her lips trembled. It was for fundraising," she stammered, but the hall had fallen silent. No more clapping, just eyes, dozens of eyes, no longer looking at her dress or posture, but at something deeper, her intent. Because some masks aren't removed by hand, they are shattered by the truth. Eleanor's words hung in the air. It was for a fundraising campaign," she whispered, but no one in the room believed her anymore. Because in that moment, they weren't looking at her. They were staring at the glowing screen behind her. A new document opened. Genomap US satellite feed. Access level red. It had been extracted from a USB drive hidden inside her bag, and it showed everything. Satellite images, genetic distribution maps, regional vulnerability analysis, and one chilling header. African genetic data, defense application prototype. President Ibrahim Traoré stood firm on the stage, still silent. Then he took the microphone. His eyes weren't on Eleanor. They were on the people. "They used to come with guns," he said. "Now they wear white coats. Their names are different, their words sound kind, but their mission remains the same. They're not interested in our illnesses. They're interested in our identity." The room fell into deep silence. A woman stood up in the back row, no anger on her face, just fear and regret. "I gave my child's blood," she said softly. "Now I don't know what it's being used for." The president turned to her, looked her directly in the eyes. "No one will protect us, but us," he said. "It's time we build immunity, not just against disease, but against betrayal." A slip of paper fell from another woman's hand, an appointment card from Dr. Wells' clinic. The cameras shifted back to Eleanor. Her head was down. She didn't deny it. She didn't apologize. She said nothing, because words had lost their power. President Traoré stepped to the mic one last time. "Africa is not a test subject. Africa is watching, and on this soil, there is no room left for lies dressed in smiles." The lights dimmed, and as the screen slowly faded to black, one final sentence appeared. "They came with data. They left with the truth.